So I didn't forget. I made sure I didn't forget. What we are going to talk about today is real men and what real men are. You hear a lot of people, in most cases, women, in some cases, men, talk about what a real man should do, what a real man would do, what a real man is, and things of that nature. So we're going to talk about my perspective on that, and I'm going to give you some real clarity about real men. So what we're going to start with is a definition of a man, what a man actually is. Are you ready? A man is an adult male human being. Wow. That's what a man is, an adult male human being. So if you were born with a penis and you made it to age 20, 21, whatever the age may be, you are a man because the age is subjective. We know that 19, you were still a teenager. 20, you are a man. That's what it should be. But, in society, for whatever reason, we consider 18-year-olds as men. So, with that being said, we're not going to get into weirdo town or anything like that, but I am talking about biological men, guys born with penises. Let's just keep it there. We don't have to go any further than that. That's what a man actually is. And I want you to know this is not debatable. This is objective. This is objective. Let me say it again. This is objective. But that's not the direction the video is going in. Let's move on. Now, when you get past what a man is, just a man by itself, you have all different types of ways to label different types of men. You have an alpha male. What is an alpha male? An alpha male is a dominant animal out of a group of animals that is a male. That's typically what it is. But it's been taken and it's been applied to humans, even though in science it was meant for packs of animals. You have other things like a gentleman, a brute, which is not really male specific, but it's mostly used for males. You also have a coward, which is not gender specific, but that's something that is typically used for males. I don't know if I've ever heard a woman called a coward in my life. But when you look up the definition of a gentleman, it is defined as a chivalrous, courteous, honorable man. Now, when you look at the gentleman code and things like that, what is that? That is societal. That's when we get into culture. Gentleman is an English word. So this is the code in a lot of English countries or places where English people have settled and things of that nature. Pulling out a chair for your girl, opening the door for your girl, putting down a coat on a puddle for your girl. Things of that nature. Most of the gentleman code is in relation to women as far as what we look at today. There might have been something back in the day as far as slapping a man with a glove and challenge him to a duel. That might have been a thing at some point. I don't know if that's a part of the gentleman code, but stuff in relation to from man to man, that's really not, something as far as the gentleman code that is preserved in mainstream today. But the point of me bringing that up as far as gentlemen, this identifies a specific type of man, and there is a code of conduct that has been created through society, through culture, that, we look at and we point to, and it's something that is honorable and it's upheld to a certain standard and things like that. That's what it is. So even when you look at that term, we could say that it's subjective, but really what it is a gentleman is an identity of a man, and there are things that are universally agreed upon within the culture that is a part of the gentleman code of conduct. I'm not about to do a deep dive on how those things got set in place, but universally opening the door, pulling out the chair, things like that, that's the gentleman code. So that part is objective. But again, it's culture. And the one thing I will add to that is a part of humans becoming civilized. because there were no doors to open when the caveman was hitting the girl over the head with a club, dragging her back to the cave, and then putting a saber-toothed tiger in front of a fucking flame and saying, cook this shit. And like, like, you know, the booga booga book, like the caveman talking shit. Like, we had to get to a civilized point and determine as humans how society should run. And that was a part of it. At least for 19th century or even 18th century, possibly even 17th century Europeans, probably a little bit further back than that. But I can almost guarantee you this is not something that extends to the BC times and the Greek times and stuff. I can almost guarantee you that they had different things set in place, how they moved and how they worked, et cetera, et cetera. And a gentleman wasn't one of those things. So now we get to a real man and what a real man is. So you understand what a man is, right? You understand what a man actually is. You understand different classifications of man, and you understand how the gentleman was cultivated and also the conduct of a gentleman is agreed upon. Things that make a gentleman a gentleman. So you understand that. Let's get to real man. I cannot tell you when people started to say real man. I cannot tell you that. But what I can tell you is how it's typically used. This is the honest truth. You're going to hear a lot of women saying what a real man is. But what context do they say what a real man is? They say it in a context of what a real man should and would do. It is not often that you hear a man being praised like he's a real man. You don't often hear that. What you hear is a real man would, what a real man's supposed to do. That's what you typically hear. Even when you hear men saying it, they're saying it in the same context. What a real man is supposed to do, what a real man is, and things of that nature. Now, the issue with this is the word real is in front of it. So unlike gentlemen, they don't have a better identifier for the type of man. They don't have a chivalrous man because chivalrous has a meaning. And the meaning of chivalrous is courteous and gallant towards women. So what does that mean? If you were a chivalrous man, you were courteous to women, right? Even gentle has a definition to give you some idea of what a gentleman is. Even if you look at something like a courageous man, that means the man is bold in the face of fear, something along those lines. When you look at real is kind of a vague word. Let's get into it as far as the etymology. I think that's the word. But this is the first definition I'm going to put on the screen. So this is from the Oxford Dictionary. It says, actually existing as a thing or occurring in fact, not imagined or supposed. Another one is of substance or a thing, not imitation or artificial, genuine. Now we're switching to the Webster's definition and we're only doing adjectives. So having objective, independent existence. Also, not artificial, fraudulent, or illusory. So being that we are talking about human beings, we know that these are concrete, real human beings. So let's just throw the existence definition out because that wouldn't make sense, right? That wouldn't make sense. We're talking about people that actually exist, men that actually exist. Because at the end of the day, these guys are adult males that we're talking about. So let's just throw existence out completely. We're going to go with not artificial, fraudulent, nor imitation. If we decide to go with one word, the one word that was universal between Oxford and Webster's was artificial. So let's take this logic and apply it to an object first. I seen a video about this today, so I'm going to use a steak analogy or just a steak example. So you order Kobe beef. You get the steak, as far as a Kobe steak. You get the steak and you begin to eat it. It doesn't taste like Kobe steak. You've ate a bunch of Kobe steaks in a bunch of other places. You're convinced that this is not a real Kobe steak. Why is it not real? First off, they are telling you it's a Kobe steak, but it doesn't taste like a Kobe steak. It's also not as tender as a Kobe steak. They also didn't show it to you, which makes you think that they, because they show you the Kobe steak. When you order a Kobe steak, they show the raw steak and stuff like that. They didn't do that. So even the presentation makes you believe that they are doing something fraudulent, which was used in one of the definitions. Long story short, that could be a ribeye or something like that they put in front of you. So them telling you it's a Kobe steak is a lie. You know it's a lie because it's not authentic. It doesn't have the qualities of a real Kobe steak. You cannot identify what it is. So it's not an artificial steak. It's nothing like that. But what it is it's fraudulent. It's fraudulent. This is not Kobe steak. It's something else. This is not a real Kobe steak, but it is steak. It's not a real Kobe steak because a Kobe steak is objectively a certain cut of beef. Objectively. So boom, we did that. Let's do this with a person. There was a guy. He was actually a kid who said that he was a doctor. And he ran a patient facility for months. He was a con artist. The feds finally caught up with him. They put him in jail. And they found out he wasn't a real doctor. So he was supposed to be a doctor. That was a title of this person. He was a doctor. What does a doctor do? A doctor sees patients, gives them medicine, prescriptions, things of that nature. Doctor has objective things that he does as far as his role. But what makes a doctor an actual doctor or a real doctor? They have to go to school and get their certification as far as degrees and things of that nature to certify them as a doctor. They have to get the education and the certification. What makes him a fake doctor is that he had no education and no certification. So he is a fraud. He is a complete fraud. And even though he carried out a lot of the actions that a doctor is objectively supposed to do, he is a fraud. He is not a real doctor. So now we get to men. Now we finally get to men. When we talk about men, we've already talked about what a man actually is. So we don't have to go over that again. When you put the word real in front of man, what is a fraudulent man? What is an artificial man? What is a fake man? Somebody who is probably saying that they're a man and not an adult. Somebody that is saying that they're a male and is probably not a male. Because those are the two things that have to be present. Something that is not human is not going to be positioned as a man in the first place. So we don't even have to so one of those qualities would have to not be there for somebody to not be a real man. But this is the issue when we talk about what a man is. Subjective, modern gender roles that have not been universally agreed upon. For example, you as a man are supposed to pay all the bills. And when you look at the subjectivity of this, women who are not even girlfriends expect men to pay their bills. We didn't even say wives. We didn't even say mothers of, as far as families and married women and stuff. No. I just said girlfriends. And even then, some of these women are not girlfriends and they expect for a man to pay their bills. So we're all over YouTube. We're all over Facebook. We're all everywhere in front of podcast mics having conversations about paying a woman's bills. That's just one. Here's another one that's great. A man is supposed to handle all your car problems. If you're a woman and you have a man in your life, he is supposed to pump your gas. He is supposed to take your car to get the oil change. He's supposed to go with you to the dealership to help you get the car. He's supposed to actually get under your car and change the oil. He's supposed to fix your carburetor. That's what a man is supposed to do as far as modern gender roles. Now, even with women, they have gender roles as well that they are supposed to do. And it's so easy to go over those, like wash the clothes, clean the house, cook the food, things of that nature. Now, guess the reason that these are subjective? Because everybody is not capable of doing these things. Sometimes people don't want to do these things at all. You actually don't have to do these things to have a functional relationship. The other person may actually like filling that role. For example, on Carlito's Way, Al Pacino said, men are the best chefs in the world. And he pretty much insinuated that he cooks better with his wife. And guess what? Guess who owns a lot of the best restaurants? Men. So look at the load that takes off of a woman's shoulders. And we could combat all of those. Like at the end of the day, you're a working woman, so your money is going to have to contribute something to the house. Even outside of that, women that's not girlfriends, you're not even a girlfriend. A man doesn't owe you anything, and he shouldn't be paying your bills because you have not even earned a role in his life yet. You haven't earned a role in his life. So even if we look at the car example, why should I pump your gas when you are perfectly capable of pumping your gas and we got two different cars? Why should I get under the hood of your car and fix a bunch of shit when I didn't go to auto mechanic school? I ain't had nobody teach me that, but I'm a sales consultant and I got the money to take that shit to fucking Pep Boys or wherever we gonna take it. Why do that? But this is what it ultimately comes down to on both sides. It comes down to you don't have to do that. When we talk about the gender roles, whatever gender role, you don't have to do that. You decide to do that. And that is why when we talk about gender roles, they are pretty subjective. Because we could talk about the traditional stuff all we want. Like at the end of the day, these chicks got to work. The economy is messed up. It is what it is. When it comes down to it, gender roles are pretty subjective. They are pretty subjective, and they are also optional. So to define a man as real or not real based on subjective gender roles is very ridiculous. Now, what we do, and this is not even most men. This is just in this space. This doesn't exist out of this space. You don't hear this shit getting said in the cooler room at your job. This is just in this space, what I'm about to say. When we identify women, we don't use the word real. And you don't hear that. Nobody is saying what a real woman would do or anything like that. And I'll get to why in a moment. But what we say is traditional women. And when we say traditional, what we are looking at is generations of women from the past and them pretty much living a certain way when it comes to those gender roles. So we identify it as that. And traditional is a better word than real when we talk about identifying what we're talking about. So the truth is all of this is bullshit. And it boils down to this. What a real man actually is whatever a woman wants in that moment that she is saying what a real man should or would do. It's really that simple. Always notice that. A real man would come and pick up his kids. And she's saying that knowing that it's not your day to pick up the kids. She just want to go and wiggle her butt in the club. But that's what a real man would do. What she wants. A real man would take me out to a better restaurant than Applebee's. She doesn't want to go to Applebee's. A real man is going to take her to Ruth Chris because she wants to go to Ruth Chris. So we could do this all day. What a real woman is a guy who pretty much feeds into what a woman wants. And all it is a manipulation tactic. It's a way to emasculate men to some degree. Now, when we look at a man, saying what a real man would and should do, it's going to come from one of two places. It's going to be one, which is very rare, a man inflating his own ego. For example, he pays all the bills. You know, there was a guy on camera and he pays all his daughter's bills. He pays his wife bills. You know, he got three. And what he's doing, he is running around the crib yelling and screaming and patting himself on the back, and they cheering him on because he paying all their bills. And he's saying, no, 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 he can't get with my daughter. Can't nobody get with my daughter. If you can't pay all my daughter bills, she don't need you because you're not a real man, because I'm paying all the bills and I'm a real man. So patting yourself on the back, inflating your own ego for the stuff that you're doing. Now, the second case, which is more common, is guys doing it to pander to women. They're trying to win the approval of women. They are trying to, get some attraction going or something like that. They're trying to signal what type of man they are, or even just get some money out of them to go and buy a course or get a seminar, a session, a consultation, whatever the case may be. But what they are doing ultimately is a form of manipulation to some degree to get some approval from the women and possibly even gain something. If your man ain't text you all day and your best male friend says, whoa, he ain't text you today, oh man, a real man would have hit you up the moment he woke up. Buddy is trying to work his way out the friend zone through dirty macking. And if you look at somebody like Poppy Don, who has admitted after his run that he was pandering to women for clicks, he would say ridiculous stuff like, and I can't remember what he said, but I'm going to just give a ridiculous example. It's Tuesday. Give your girl $800. If you can't give her $800, you're broke. You're not a real man, because at the end of the day, a real man is going to invest in a woman, and they understand that a woman is an investment, and you got to be invested in a woman because that's what real men do. And girls be all, oh my God, yeah, he telling the truth, because shit, I deserve $800 just for existing and having a coochie. So that's what you see. So really, when you look at it, it's just manipulation to a person's benefit when they say the words real men. That's what it is. We don't use that term because there is no sense of pride in being a woman. There's just not. And that's just real. That's just real for the most part. And it comes back to that burden of performance as far as men. We have to live up to so much that we take pride in the success that we gain and things like that, because ultimately, and it's funny that somebody said, oh man, the red pill is all men are all responsible. No. Listen, we want to be winners. We want to be winners. That's the difference between men and women. They want a winner. We want to win. That's the difference. So when you try and cut a woman down and stuff like that, as far as, accomplishments and things of that nature, things that have nothing to do with their body, it's not going to work. It's not really going to work, because that's not where their pride is. Their pride is not attached to that. As where, even though it's not a problem that I've never had an issue with this, but if you call some guys broke, especially in the black community, that is like, oh man, cats get so mad. They get so upset. It's a story, and I'm not going to go deep, but it's a story that a guy told about an altercation he had in the mall with another struggle rapper. And the guy is a YouTuber, but both of these guys is thugs, right? One of the first thing the guy says, because they doing this stare off, look off thing and stuff like that. The first thing that the guy says to try and insult the guy is, you broke as hell, nigga. You don't get no money, nigga. And he thought that was supposed to be the stinger. He thought that was supposed to like really fire a dude up. And it's like, really, that's insane to me. Like, how is that the first thing? Like, not calling him a B word, not calling him nothing crazy, just broke. So at the end of the day, yes, we do have an ego as men, and that's because we got to earn our keep and all of that stuff. But what it is, when it comes to women, they try to play against that with the real man stuff to get what they want. That's all it is. It's manipulation. And even when it comes to guys, they're not trying to do anything to the guy when they say it. In most contexts, you're going to hear it in relation to women. And that is the final point. A real man doesn't exist in a context outside of a woman. It just doesn't. You're not going to hear too many real man sentences that have absolutely nothing to do with women and family. That's it. And it's very rare that you're going to hear it in relation to family. It's going to be overwhelmingly in relation to women. But outside of that, as far as just a man and any other kind, like you're not, oh man, a real man is going to confront another man when he has a problem. Like you're not going to hear sentences like that, not just in your everyday life, but even online. You're not going to hear that a bunch. So with that being said, the ultimate understanding is that it is a play on your pride and it's to manipulate your pride. And when other guys use it, it is a tool to get approval from the women or to pat themselves on the back. That's it. If you like the vid, put a like on the vid. Be sure to subscribe if you're new here, man. New videos coming. I'll catch y'all, man.